Hello, and welcome to English in Fluency. I am your host, Alex, and I am so incredibly happy to have you here with me today. Have you ever looked at your calendar and felt your heart beat faster because there is simply no empty space left in your day? You wake up, the alarm is ringing, and from the moment your feet touch the floor, you are rushing. You have to get ready for work. You have to take care of your family. You have to commute. You have to attend meetings. And by the time you finally sit down on your sofa at night, you are absolutely exhausted. In that moment of tiredness, you look at your English textbook sitting on the shelf, or you see the English app on your phone, and you feel a heavy weight in your chest. You feel guilt. You tell yourself that you failed today because you did not study for an hour. You tell yourself that you will never reach fluency because you are just too busy. If this sounds like your life, I want you to take a deep breath right now. Let it out. You are not failing. You are just falling into a very common trap. And today, in this extensive masterclass, we are going to fix that together. We are going to talk about how to stay consistent even on your busiest days, how to overcome perfectionism, how to master social skills, and how to prove that your English progress depends on small, daily efforts, not massive, painful study sessions. Let's start by changing the way we view progress. Imagine a man named Lucas. Lucas is a graphic designer living in a busy city. He loves English. He dreams of traveling to London and New York. He wants to watch movies without subtitles and speak to clients from all over the world. But Lucas has a problem. He believes that to learn English, he must study for 1 hour every single day in a quiet room with a notebook and a pen. On Monday, Lucas is motivated. He studies for an hour. On Tuesday, he works late, so he misses his study time. On Wednesday, he feels tired from Tuesday, so he skips it again. By Thursday, Lucas feels terrible. He feels like he has lost his momentum. He thinks, why bother trying today if I already failed yesterday? This is the all-or-nothing mindset, and it is the biggest enemy of your fluency. Lucas eventually stops studying completely for 2 months because the task feels too big. Now, I want you to imagine a different version of Lucas. This version of Lucas understands the secret we are discussing today. He knows that consistency beats intensity. He understands that 5 minutes of English is infinitely better than 0 minutes of English. Let's walk through a day in the life of this successful version of Lucas and see how he fits English into a day that is completely full. It is 7 in the morning. Lucas is in his kitchen making coffee. The water is boiling, and the smell of coffee fills the air. He is tired, but he does not reach for a grammar book. Instead, while the water boils, he talks to himself in his head in English. He looks at the kettle and thinks, the water is boiling. He looks at the window and thinks, it looks cloudy today. I should take an umbrella. This takes exactly 30 seconds. It requires no extra time. He is simply narrating his life. This is your first lesson for today. You do not need to carve out time to think. You can switch your internal voice to English while you are brushing your teeth, while you are tying your shoes, or while you are waiting for the elevator. Let's practice this right now. I want you to look around the room you are in. Find one object. Maybe it is a lamp, a chair, or a window. Now, in your head or out loud, make one simple sentence about it. If it is a lamp, say, the lamp is bright. If it is a chair, say, the chair looks comfortable. Do it now. Excellent. You just studied English. It was fast, it was easy, and it did not disrupt your day. Let's go back to Lucas. He is now leaving his apartment to go to work. He takes the subway, and the train is crowded and noisy. He cannot open a book because there is no space. In the past, Lucas would have just stared at his phone and scrolled through social media in his native language. But today, he puts in his headphones. He listens to a podcast just like this one. He is not trying to memorize every word. He is not writing anything down. He is just letting the English sounds flow into his ears. He is enjoying the story. Even if he only understands 70%, his brain is getting used to the rhythm and the melody of the language. This is called passive immersion. It turns your dead time into learning time. Dead time is the time you spend waiting, commuting, or cleaning. It is time when your body is busy, but your brain is free. I want you to think about your day. Where is your dead time? Is it when you are washing the dishes? Is it when you are walking the dog? Is it when you are sitting in traffic? I challenge you to identify just one period of dead time tomorrow and fill it with English audio. It could be a song, a podcast, or even a news report. The content does not matter as much as the habit. This creates what we call the compound effect. Imagine you have a large jar. If you try to put a massive rock into the jar, it might not fit. But if you put in handfuls of sand, eventually the jar will be full. Your small daily efforts are the sand. 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, 5 minutes in the evening. These moments add up. Over a week, that is more than 2 hours of exposure. Over a month, it is nearly 10 hours. But more importantly, you are building the identity of an English speaker. You are someone who lives in English, not just someone who visits English occasionally. I also want to share a technique called habit stacking. This is a concept from psychology that works wonders for language learning. Look at the habits you already have. You drink coffee every morning. You brush your teeth every night. You check the mail every afternoon. Glue your English practice to these existing habits. Tell yourself, after I pour my coffee, I will listen to one song in English. Or, before I brush my teeth, I will read one page of a book. When you connect a new habit to an old one, it becomes automatic. You don't have to use your willpower. It just happens. Let's imagine another character. Let's call her Sophie. Sophie is a mother of 2 small children. She has almost no time to herself. She felt like she was losing her English skills. She decided to use habit stacking. Every time she drove her children to school, she played English nursery rhymes and children's stories. She learned the vocabulary along with her kids. When she was folding laundry, she spoke to herself about the colors of the clothes. She stacked English onto her mothering duties. Sophie is now speaking B1 level English confidently. Not because she found extra time, but because she used the time she already had differently. Now, let's go even deeper. Let's talk about how to change your environment so that English comes to you rather than you having to go find it. Let's begin with a concept I call the invisible teacher. When you are busy, you do not have the energy to make decisions. If you have to decide to open a book, find a page, and start reading, you probably won't do it because your brain is tired. The trick is to remove the decision. You want to make English unavoidable. I want you to imagine a new friend of ours named Elena. Elena works as a nurse in a very busy hospital. Her shifts are 12 hours long. She is on her feet all day, helping patients, dealing with emergencies, and running from room to room. When she gets home, she is physically and mentally drained. She has absolutely zero willpower left to study grammar. But Elena has a secret weapon. She has set up her life so that English is everywhere she looks. She did something very simple that you can do right now. She changed the language on her phone to English. This seems like a small thing, but think about how many times you look at your phone every day. 50 times? 100 times? Every time Elena looks at her screen, she sees settings instead of the word in her native language. She sees weather, messages, and calendar. She is constantly reminded of English without doing any work. She also put sticky notes on her bathroom mirror. One note says, "You are doing a great job." Another note lists 3 new words she wants to learn that week. While she is brushing her teeth, she cannot help but read the notes. She doesn't have to try. Her eyes just go there. This is the invisible teacher. It teaches you when you aren't even paying attention. Now, let's move to a slightly more active technique, but one that is perfect for busy days. It is called the 2-minute rule. The rule is simple. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Do not plan it. Do not write it on a to-do list. Just do it. How does this apply to English? Well, often we think we need 30 minutes to read a news article. But reading just the headline and the first paragraph takes less than 2 minutes. Listening to one song takes about 3 minutes. Sending a text message to a friend in English takes 1 minute. Let's practice this 2-minute rule together right now. We are going to do a very short listening exercise. I am going to tell you a very short story, just 3 sentences long. I want you to listen carefully and try to visualize the story in your mind. Do not translate it. Just see the pictures. Here is the story. The old man sat on the park bench feeding the birds. Suddenly, it started to rain heavily. He opened his red umbrella and smiled. Okay, that was it. That took less than 20 seconds. But in those 20 seconds, your brain processed vocabulary like bench, feeding, heavily, and umbrella. You practiced listening comprehension without any stress. This is how you use the 2-minute rule. Throughout your day, whenever you have a tiny gap, fill it with a tiny bit of English. This brings us to a very difficult emotion that almost every B1 learner feels. It is called the intermediate plateau. You might feel like you are learning and learning, but your speaking isn't getting better. You feel stuck. To explain this, I want to use the metaphor of the Chinese bamboo tree. This is a very special plant. When you plant the seed of this bamboo, you have to water it and fertilize it every day. For the first year, you see nothing. The ground looks empty. You water it for the second year, and still nothing happens. You water it for the third and fourth years, still nothing. You might think, I am wasting my time, this plant is dead. But then, in the 5th year, something amazing happens. In just 6 weeks, the bamboo tree grows 90 feet tall. That is incredibly high. Now, did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? No. It grew 90 feet in 5 years. For those first 4 years, it was growing a massive root system underground. It was building the foundation to support the height it would eventually reach. You are the bamboo tree. Right now, on these busy days where you only listen to a podcast for 5 minutes or read one page of a book, you are watering the ground. You are building your root system. You might not see the results in your speaking immediately, You might not feel fluent today, but you are building the foundation. If you stop watering now, the roots will die. But if you keep going, if you stay consistent with your small daily efforts, your moment of growth will come. However, even with these techniques, there is an internal enemy that stops busy people more than anything else. It is not a lack of time. It is not a lack of resources. It is the fear of making mistakes. And its cousin, perfectionism. We are going to learn how to embrace imperfection so that you can keep moving forward even when you feel messy and unorganized. I want to introduce you to a man named Daniel. Daniel is an architect. He is a very smart man who takes great pride in his work. When he designs a building, every line must be straight, and every measurement must be exact. If he makes a mistake, the building could fall down. Daniel applies this same pressure to his English. He writes emails to his international colleagues, but he spends 45 minutes writing 3 sentences. He checks the dictionary 10 times. He worries about prepositions. He worries about tenses. By the time he sends the email, he is exhausted. When he is in a meeting, he stays silent. He has a great idea in his head, but he is terrified that if he speaks, he will make a grammar mistake and look foolish. Because he is so busy, he feels he doesn't have the time to be bad at English. He feels he must be perfect immediately. This is the perfectionist trap, and it is deadly for fluency. Daniel eventually stops trying because the pressure is too high. If you feel like Daniel, I want you to listen closely. Fluency is not like architecture. If you make a grammar mistake, the building does not fall down. Nobody gets hurt. Communication is messy. It is imperfect. Real native speakers make mistakes all the time. They start sentences and don't finish them. They use the wrong words. They stutter. If you wait until you are perfect to speak, you will be silent forever. So, how do we fix this on a busy day? We adopt the good enough standard. We need to shift your goal from correctness to connection. Did you connect with another person? Did you understand the main idea of the podcast? If the answer is yes, you succeeded. To help you practice this, I want to teach you a technique called shadowing. This is the absolute best technique for busy people because it requires 0 preparation. You don't need a book. You don't need a pen. You just need your ears and your mouth. Shadowing is simply acting like a parrot. You listen to a sentence of native English audio, and you repeat it almost at the same time, trying to copy the speed, the emotion, and the melody. You are not analyzing the grammar. You are just mimicking the sound. Let's try a shadowing exercise right now. I am going to say a sentence. I will say it slowly first, and then at natural speed. I want you to repeat it immediately after me. Do not worry if you miss a word. Do not worry if your accent isn't perfect. Just try to match my rhythm. Here is the sentence. I am doing the best I can. Now, you say it. Good. Now, let's try it with a bit more speed and emotion. Listen to my voice. I am doing the best I can. Go ahead. Excellent. Let's try a longer one. Listen carefully. Mistakes are just proof that I am trying. Your turn. Repeat it. Mistakes are just proof that I am trying. How did that feel? You weren't thinking about the verb to be or the present continuous tense. You were just speaking. This is powerful because you can do it anywhere. When you are driving and listening to the radio, shadow the announcer. When you are watching Netflix, shadow the main character. It turns passive listening into active training. But let's talk about the reality of life. Because no matter how motivated you are, and no matter how well you plan, things will go wrong. You will get sick. You will go on vacation and forget your books. You will have a crisis at work. And when that happens, your English habit might break. Today, we are going to talk about how to come back after a break. I want to tell you the story of a woman named Maya. Maya was an excellent student. For 3 months, she was perfect. But then, Maya got the flu. She was in bed for a week, too sick to think about English. Then, when she went back to work, she had a mountain of emails to answer. She was stressed and tired. Another week passed. Then another. Suddenly, it had been 1 month since Maya had studied English. Now, here is the dangerous part. Maya felt ashamed. She looked at her English books and felt a knot in her stomach. She told herself, "I have lost everything. I have forgotten all my words. I am back to zero." Because she felt bad, she avoided English even more. This is what we call the shame spiral. It is not the break that stops you. It is the shame about the break that stops you. If you are listening to this and you feel like Maya, I want you to forgive yourself right now. You are human. You are not a robot. Life is not a straight line. It is a wavy line. There are ups and there are downs. The secret to reaching fluency is not being perfect for 10 years. The secret is knowing how to restart. The most successful English learners are simply the ones who have restarted the most times. To help you restart without pain, I want to share a rule called the minimum viable effort. When you try to come back to English after a break, do not try to run a marathon. Do not try to study for an hour. Your brain will resist it. Instead, do the absolute minimum. Do something so easy that you cannot say no. Listen to one song. Read one quote on Instagram. Watch one short video. That is it. You are just trying to open the door again. You are just trying to tell your brain, "Hello, we are back." Once the door is open, it is much easier to walk through it tomorrow. Let's practice a restart moment together. I want you to imagine that you haven't spoken English in a long time. You feel rusty. We are going to grease the wheels with a very simple affirmation. I want you to say this out loud, with kindness in your voice. I am exactly where I need to be. Say it with me. I am exactly where I need to be. Good. Now say this. I am starting again, and that is brave. Your turn. I am starting again, and that is brave. Excellent. You have just broken the silence. You have restarted. We also need a better way to measure our progress, because at the B1 level, progress can feel invisible. I want to suggest a technique called the voice time capsule. This is very simple and very powerful. Take your phone and open the voice recorder app. Record yourself speaking for 1 minute about your day. Talk about what you ate, what you did, and how you feel. Save the file and name it with today's date. Do not listen to it. Just save it. Then, set a reminder in your calendar for 3 months from today. In 3 months, record yourself again. Then, listen to the old recording. I promise you, you will be shocked. You will hear mistakes in the old recording that you don't make anymore. You will hear that your speed was slower. You will hear that your pronunciation was less clear. This is the only way to truly see the invisible growth. You need to compare yourself to your past self, not to a native speaker. As we continue on this path, we must tackle 2 very specific, very frustrating technical problems that almost every intermediate learner faces: the sound barrier and the vocabulary gap. Let's start with listening. Have you ever thought, why do native speakers eat their words? You study English in a classroom where everyone speaks, like this. But then you watch a movie, and the actor says, "What I ya wanna do?" and you feel lost. You think your listening is bad. I want to tell you a secret. Your listening is fine. Your problem is that you are listening for the wrong thing. You are listening for words, but native speakers speak in chunks. We call this connected speech. In English, we do not like silence between words. We glue them together. Consonants at the end of one word stick to the vowels at the start of the next word. We also change sounds to make them easier to say. We are lazy speakers. Let's look at a character named Julian. Julian loves American action movies. He would watch them and get frustrated because he couldn't catch every single word. He would rewind the scene 10 times, trying to hear, what did he say? Julian was trying to hear, what did he say? But the actor was saying, what did he say? The did and he blended together. Once Julian understood that English has a music, and that sounds change, he stopped trying to hear every separate word and started listening to the flow. Let's practice this right now. I am going to teach you to listen like a native. I will give you a standard sentence, and then we will glue it together. The sentence is, do you want to go out? If I speak like a robot, I say, do you want to go out? But in real life, we say, do you want to go out? Listen closely. Do you want to go out? Now, I want you to say it. Don't say, do you? Say, d'ya. Don't say want to. Say wanna. Try it. Do you want to go out? Excellent. You are now using connected speech. This is not slang. This is how spoken English works. Now, let's move to the second big frustration. The vocabulary gap. I want to introduce you to Nina. Nina is incredibly smart. She reads English books and understands 95% of the text. Her passive vocabulary, the words she understands, is huge, maybe 5,000 words. But when she speaks, she feels like a child. She uses good, bad, and nice over and over again. She feels trapped. She asks herself, why can't I use the beautiful words I know? This is normal. Your passive bucket is always bigger than your active bucket. The goal is not to move all your words to the active bucket, but to build a bridge so you can access more of them when you need them. To do this, we need to use a technique called forced output. Usually, we wait for a word to come to us naturally. But to activate a word, you have to force it out of your mouth. Let's pick a word. Let's take the word exhausted. You know this word. It means very, very tired. But maybe you always say, I am very tired. For the next 24 hours, I want you to ban the word tired. You are not allowed to say it. You must use exhausted. I am exhausted after work. The baby is exhausted. My legs are exhausted. By forcing yourself to use the new word, you are taking it off the dusty shelf in your brain and putting it on the front desk, ready to be used. Moving deeper into the psychology of learning, we need to perform surgery on the way you think. We need to tackle the translation trap. I want to introduce you to a dedicated learner named Hero. Hero is very smart. When he hears the English word apple, his brain goes on a journey. First, he hears the sound. Then, he translates it into his native language. Then, he visualizes the fruit. Then, he thinks of the answer in his native language. Finally, he translates the answer back into English. This process takes about 2 seconds. 2 seconds doesn't sound like much, but in a conversation, 2 seconds is an eternity. It makes Hero look slow. It makes him feel anxious because he is always catching up. We want to cut the wire between English and your native language. We want to build a direct link. We want you to see the apple and immediately think apple, with no middle step. To do this, we treat English like a sensation. We use the sensory association technique. Let's practice this right now. I want you to close your eyes for a moment if you are in a safe place. I want you to imagine a lemon. Do not think of the word for lemon in your language. I want you to imagine cutting the lemon. Imagine the juice spraying into the air. Imagine the smell. It is sharp. It is citrusy. Now imagine biting into that lemon. Feel your mouth puckering. Feel that sour taste on your tongue. Hold that strong physical sensation. Now say the word sour. Say it again. Sour. By doing this, you are gluing the English word sour directly to the physical sensation in your body. You are bypassing your native language completely. Now, let's transition to the workplace and professional fluency. Many of you listening are engineers, doctors, managers, and teachers. You are highly respected in your field. But when you switch to English, you feel like a fraud. You feel like a child. This is the imposter syndrome. I want to introduce you to Omar. Omar is a senior project manager. In his native language, he commands the room. But in English meetings, he stays silent. He thinks that, to sound professional, he needs to use big, fancy words. He thinks he needs to say utilize instead of use or commence instead of start. Because he can't find these big words quickly, he says nothing. Here is the truth about business English. Good business communication is not about complexity. It is about clarity. The most powerful CEOs in the world speak in simple, clear sentences. Let's practice power simplification. I am going to give you a complicated, fancy sentence that is hard to say. I want you to translate it into powerful, simple English. The sentence is, I am of the opinion that this solution is not optimal. That is weak and wordy. How can you say this in 4 or 5 words? Try, I don't think this works. Or, this is not the best solution. Say it out loud. I don't think this works. Does that feel unprofessional? No. It feels direct. It feels like a leader speaking. This connects directly to social fluency. You can study grammar books alone in your room for years, but the moment you have to stand in front of a real person and make small talk, your mind goes blank. We are going to learn the simple mechanics of conversation so that you never have to fear an awkward silence again. Let's start by redefining what a conversation is. Many learners think a conversation is an interview. They think, he asks a question, I give an answer. This is incorrect. A conversation is not an interview. It is a game of tennis. In tennis, if someone hits the ball to you and you just catch it and hold it, the game is over. You have to hit it back. In English, we hit the ball back using a technique called answer plus add. Let me introduce you to a character named Kenji. Kenji is a very polite man. When his colleague asks him, How was your weekend, Kenji? Kenji smiles and says, It was good. And then he stops. Now there is silence. Kenji thinks he is being polite, but actually, he is killing the conversation. Now, let's teach Kenji the answer plus add technique. When someone asks, How was your weekend? Kenji should answer the question, and then add one tiny piece of extra information. He should say, It was good. I went to the cinema. That extra piece, I went to the cinema, is the ball flying back over the net. Now the colleague can catch it and say, Oh? What did you see? The game continues. I want to practice this with you right now. I am going to ask you a boring, standard question. I want you to answer it, but you must add one detail. Here is the question. Did you have a busy day? Do not just say yes. Say yes, I, and finish the sentence. Go ahead. Did you have a busy day? Did you do it? Maybe you said, yes, I had a lot of meetings. Or, no, I relaxed at home. That extra detail is the hook that keeps the connection alive. Now that we have covered the serious skills, let's loosen up. Let's talk about your personality and the fun side of fluency. Have you ever felt like you are two different people? In your native language, you are funny, you are witty, you are the life of the party. But in English, you feel serious and boring. You feel like your true personality is trapped behind a wall of grammar. Today, we are going to break down that wall. We are going to talk about how to crack a joke and tell a story using exaggeration. Let's look at an example. Imagine you are waiting for a bus and it is 5 minutes late. You could say, the bus is late. That is factually correct, but it is boring. To show personality, you could use exaggeration. You could look at your watch and say, I think this bus is coming tomorrow. Or, I have aged 10 years waiting for this bus. Is it true? No. Is it funny? Yes. Let's practice this art of exaggeration together. I am going to give you a boring situation, and I want you to make it huge. Situation, you are very hungry. Boring sentence, I am hungry. Fun, exaggerated sentence, I could eat a horse. Or, my stomach is shouting at me. Try one now. The situation is, it is very cold outside. Don't just say, it is cold. Make it dramatic. Did you say, I am turning into an icicle? Or, it feels like the North Pole? That is personality. That is fluency. We can also learn this personality from movies and pop culture. But most people watch movies wrong. They zone out. To learn from a movie, you need to be an active detective. I recommend the 5-minute method. Pick just one scene, maybe 3 to 5 minutes long. Step 1. Watch with no subtitles. Step 2. Watch with English subtitles and look for new words. Step 3. Shadow the actors. This is how you learn idioms. Idioms are the spices of language. If I say, break a leg, and you literally go and break your leg, we have a problem. Idioms are cultural pictures. Let's practice guessing an idiom from context. Context. I was so nervous before the presentation, I had butterflies in my stomach. What do you think that means? Imagine butterflies flying inside you. How does that feel? Ticklish? Uncomfortable? It means you are nervous or anxious. Next time you hear a strange phrase, don't panic. Close your eyes, visualize the literal picture, and ask yourself what it represents. Now, I want to take a moment to pause and go even deeper into the mechanics of the language itself, because sometimes, even with the best habits, you hit a wall called the logic gap. You might be consistent, you might be listening every day, but there are certain parts of English that just feel wrong to you. They don't make sense. I am talking about the nightmare of prepositions and the confusion of articles. You memorize that in means inside and on means on top, but then you hear someone say, I am on the bus, and you think, wait, aren't you inside the bus? These small inconsistencies can drive a busy learner crazy. They make you feel like you will never truly master the code. Today, we are going to fix this by stopping the memorization and starting the visualization. Let's solve the transport mystery right now. Why are we in a car but on a bus? Why are we in a taxi, but on a plane? It seems random, but it is not. The rule is actually about your body mechanics. Ask yourself this simple question. Can I stand up and walk? If the vehicle is large enough for you to stand up and walk to your seat, you are on it. You are on the bus. You are on the plane. You are on the train. You are on the ship. The vehicle is like a platform, a floor that you walk on. However, if the vehicle is small and you have to crouch down and slide into your seat, you are in it. You are in a car. You are in a taxi. You are in a helicopter. By visualizing your body standing or sitting, you never have to memorize the list again. Let's apply this visualization to time. Prepositions of time, at, on, in, are a source of constant stress. I want you to imagine a camera zooming in. We start with the widest view, in. In is for big, vague periods of time. Centuries, years, seasons, months. In the 90s, in 2024, in summer, in July. It is a big container of time. Now, the camera zooms in a little bit closer to specific days. When we talk about a specific day or date, we use on. On Monday. On my birthday. On July 4th. The day is a surface we land on. Finally, the camera zooms in tight to a specific point on the clock. For precise times, we use at 5 p.m., at noon, at the moment. So, the logic flows from the big container, in, to the specific day, on, to the precise moment, at. Next time you are writing an email and you pause, just visualize the camera zoom. Now, let's tackle the concept of the English filter. As you progress to B1 and B2, you will encounter a new problem. Too much vocabulary. You will read an article and see 20 words you don't know. The old you would stop and look up every single word. The new, busy you does not have time for that. You need to use the filter method. Imagine you are a gold miner. You are looking for gold nuggets, useful words. You are not interested in the dirt. Rare, useless words. How do you know the difference? If you see a new word, ignore it and keep reading. If you see it again, ignore it again. But if you see that word for the third time in the same week, that is a signal. That is a gold nugget. That word is trying to tell you, I am important. Everyone uses me. Only then do you write it down. This saves you hours of time and prevents you from filling your brain with words like flabbergasted, when you really just need to know surprised. I want to introduce you to a character named Isabella. Isabella is an accountant. She is very precise. She felt that her English was dry. She could explain numbers perfectly, but she couldn't tell a story. She felt like a robot. She wanted to learn how to use narrative tenses to make her weekend stories sound interesting. Usually, when we tell a story, we just use the past simple. I went to the store. I bought milk. I went home. It works, but it is flat. Isabella learned to add background color using the past continuous. Instead of, I walked to work and saw a dog, she said, I was walking to work, the sun was shining, and I was thinking about my meeting, when suddenly I saw a dog. Do you feel the difference? The past continuous, was walking, was shining, sets the scene. It is the movie set. The past simple, saw, is the action. Let's practice this scene setting together. I want you to think about what you were doing right before you started listening to this audio. That is your background. Start your sentence with I was. Maybe, I was washing the dishes. Or, I was driving to work. Now, add the interruption, the main action. When I decided to listen to Alex. Put it together. I was washing the dishes when I decided to listen to Alex. This structure, "I was doing X when Y happened" is the secret to charisma. It pulls the listener into your moment. You are no longer just reporting data. You are sharing an experience. Now, let's talk about the identity crisis. This is a deep psychological hurdle. When you speak English, you might feel like you are faking it. You might feel like an actor wearing a costume. You hear your own voice, and it sounds higher, or deeper, or unsure. You think, "This isn't me." I want to tell you that this is not only normal, it is necessary. In psychology, this is called the language ego. To speak a new language, you actually have to develop a new persona. Think of a famous actor. When they play a role, they change their voice, their posture, their attitude. They are not lying. They are performing. When you switch to English, I want you to step into your English avatar. Maybe your English avatar is a bit more polite than your native self. Or maybe, because English is a direct language, your avatar is more assertive. Give this avatar a name if you want. If your name is Julia, maybe your English avatar is Julia. When you feel nervous, tell yourself, "Julia is scared, but Julia is brave. Let Julia speak." This mental separation protects your ego from the fear of making mistakes. It's not you making the mistake, it's just the avatar practicing. Let's move to a very practical skill: the art of the interruption. In many cultures, interrupting is rude. But in English conversation, especially in excited or fast-paced business meetings, you sometimes have to interrupt to be heard. If you wait for a perfect silence, you will wait forever. But you must interrupt politely. You cannot just shout. You need entry phrases. These are like keys that unlock the door of the conversation without breaking it. Phrase 1. "Can I just jump in here for a second?" Phrase 2. "Sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to add something." Phrase 3. "That is a great point, and I think—" Let's practice this. Imagine I am talking non-stop. I am saying, "And then we went to the market. And then we saw the report. And the numbers were down. And—" I want you to interrupt me nicely using phrase 1. Wait for a tiny breath and say, "Can I just jump in here for a second?" Say it out loud now. "Can I just jump in here for a second?" Good. It feels assertive, but respectful. Practice this with the television. When a news anchor pauses for a breath, practice your entry phrase. This leads us to the Google search strategy. One of the biggest reasons learners get stuck is that they don't know how to find answers themselves. They ask a teacher, "What is the difference between make and do?" But you don't always have a teacher. You have a smartphone. The skill is knowing how to search. If you just search make versus do, you get a grammar textbook explanation that is boring and hard to understand. Instead, use the image search trick. Go to Google Images. Search make collocations and do collocations. You will instantly see visual charts. You will see make a cake, creating, and do homework, action. Your brain processes images 60,000 times faster than text. Also, use the news trick. If you want to know how a word is actually used in real life, click the News tab on Google. Search for the word sustainability. You will see headlines. You will see how journalists use it. You will see context. This is learning from the real world, not a textbook world. Let's talk about the plateau of boredom. We talked about the frustration of not improving, but what about the boredom? Sometimes English just feels repetitive. You are tired of hearing about Tom and Mary going to the library. When this happens, you need to shock the system. You need to do something completely different with English to wake your brain up. If you usually read news, try reading a poem. If you usually listen to business podcasts, try listening to a stand-up comedy clip. If you usually write in a journal, try writing a rap song. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be different. Novelty releases dopamine. Dopamine helps memory. I challenge you. This weekend, find one piece of content in English that has nothing to do with learning English. Watch a tutorial on how to bake bread. Watch a documentary about sharks. Watch a review of the latest iPhone. When you focus on the topic, you forget you are studying the language. And that is when the magic happens. Now, I want to address a specific group of you, the parents. Many of you are listening because you want a better life for your children. You want them to be bilingual. But you feel guilty because your own English isn't perfect, so you are afraid to speak to them. You think, I will teach them my bad accent. Please, let go of this fear. Your connection with your child is more powerful than your accent. Start a 1-hour rule. On Sunday mornings, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., the house is an English zone. Make pancakes together. Name the ingredients. Flour. Milk. Mix. Your children will not judge your grammar. They will just see that English is a fun tool for bonding. You are normalizing the language for them. You are giving them a gift that is worth more than any expensive language school. Let's go back to pronunciation for a moment, specifically intonation. Intonation is the melody of the sentence. If you speak with a flat melody, you can sound bored or rude, even if you are happy. English is a very wavy language. We go up and down to show emotion. Imagine a rubber band. When you say an important word, stretch the rubber band. Sentence, I am so happy to see you. Don't say, I am so happy to see you like a robot. Stretch the word so. Go up high. I am so happy to see you. Stretch the word see. Let's practice. That is really interesting. Stretch, really. Make it long. Make it high. That is really interesting. It might feel exaggerated to you. It might feel silly. But to a native speaker, it sounds engaged and friendly. The more you sing your English, the more fluent you sound. We must also talk about the energy vampire of social media. You open Instagram or TikTok to relax, but you see videos of polyglots who speak 20 languages perfectly. You see influencers who say, if you make this mistake, you are stupid. This drains your energy. It makes you feel inadequate. I want you to do a social media cleanse. Unfollow any account that makes you feel anxious or ashamed about your English. Unfollow the accounts that scream at you for making mistakes. Instead, follow accounts that are encouraging, funny, or interested in the same hobbies as you. Follow a photographer from New York. Follow a chef from London. Fill your feed with real-life English, not teacher English. Your feed is your daily environment. Keep it clean and positive. Now, let's explore the Feynman technique applied to English. Richard Feynman was a famous physicist who said the best way to learn something is to teach it. You might think, I can't teach English. I am a student. But you can teach what you learned today. If you learned the word procrastinate today, do not just write it down. Imagine you are teaching it to a 5-year-old. How would you explain it? Procrastinate means when you have to do work, but you watch cat videos instead. By simplifying the definition and explaining it to an imaginary student or your real dog, you prove to your brain that you truly understand it. Try this tonight. Pick one concept from this audio, maybe the invisible teacher, and explain it to your mirror in English. So, the invisible teacher is when you put sticky notes on your mirror. Speaking the explanation solidifies the knowledge. Let's touch on the power of persuasion. This is for those stressful moments, like a doctor's appointment or a job interview. Often we freeze because we are trying to think of the words and the medical problem and the social politeness all at the same time. It is too much cognitive load. The solution is scripting. Before you go to the doctor, write a script. Literally, write it down. Doctor, I have a pain in my knee. It hurts when I walk. It started 3 days ago. Read it. Memorize it. Practice saying it in the car. When you arrive, you have the opening scene memorized. This gives you confidence. Once the conversation starts, you will have to improvise, but starting strong reduces your adrenaline. You can script your order at Starbucks. You can script your introduction for a meeting. Preparation is the antidote to panic. I want to introduce you to a concept called the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. This rule states that 80% of the results come from 20% of the causes. In English, this is incredibly true. 80% of conversation comes from the most common 20% of words, the high-frequency words. Many B1 learners waste time trying to learn the long-tail words, words like antiquated, cumbersome, or haphazardly. These words appear maybe once a year in conversation. Focus your limited energy on the power verbs: get, take, have, do, make, go. These words are flexible. Get can mean buy, understand, arrive, become, or receive. I got it, understood. I got home, arrived. I got a coffee, bought. I got tired, became. Mastering the flexibility of get is worth 10 times more than learning the word acquire. Don't be a collector of rare words. Be a master of common ones. Let's talk about listening durability. We often practice listening with 3-minute clips. But in real life, a meeting might last an hour. A dinner party might last 3 hours. B1 learners often crash after 15 minutes. Their brain gets tired and they stop understanding. This is normal mental fatigue. To build durability, you need to do endurance training. Once a week, try to listen to something longer, maybe a 20-minute podcast. Do not try to understand every word. Just try to stay in the room. Just try to follow the main thread. If you zone out, don't quit. Just gently bring your attention back. It is like meditation. You are training your focus muscle. The more you do it, the longer you can last in a real conversation without getting a headache. Now, let's revisit the feedback loop. How do you know if you are making a mistake if you study alone? This is the biggest fear of the self-study learner. What if I am practicing the wrong thing? Nowadays, technology is your friend. Use the dictation tool on your phone. Open a Google Doc or your Notes app. Switch the keyboard to English. Press the microphone button. Speak a sentence. I am going to the store tomorrow. See what the phone writes. If it writes, I am growing to the star tomorrow, you know your pronunciation needs work. Maybe your store sounded like star. This is instant, free feedback. It is not perfect, but if Siri or Google understands you, a human probably will too. Let's discuss the emotional side of correction. What happens when someone corrects you? Imagine you say, I have 30 years, and a native speaker says, oh, you mean you are 30 years old? In that moment, you have a choice. Choice A, you feel stupid, you blush, you shut down, you think, I hate mistakes. Choice B, You become a thank you machine. You smile and say, "Ah, I am 30. Thank you." The person who chooses choice B learns faster. Why? Because they reward the helper. If you smile and say thank you, the native speaker thinks, "Oh, Alex likes help. I will help him again." You get free lessons. If you look angry or embarrassed, the native speaker thinks, "Oops, I hurt his feelings. I will never correct him again." They will let you make mistakes forever to be polite. Be coachable. Invite correction. It is the fastest path to improvement. I want to share a story about a student named Ken. Ken was obsessed with grammar. He knew every rule about the present perfect continuous. But he was afraid of small talk. He thought small talk was useless. He wanted to have deep intellectual conversations. But Ken realized that you cannot have a deep conversation until you open the door with small talk. Small talk is the bridge. You can't jump across the river. You have to walk the bridge. Ken learned the Ford method for small talk. F is for family. Do you have any brothers or sisters? O is for occupation. What do you do? R is for recreation. What do you do for fun? D is for dreams. Are you planning any trips this year? Whenever Ken felt stuck in an awkward silence, he just mentally grabbed a letter. R. Recreation. O. Do you play any sports? The Ford method saved him from silence. It gave him a mental menu of questions. Let's talk about legacy. Why are you really doing this? Is it just for a job? Is it just for a test? Usually it is something deeper. Maybe it is to prove to yourself that you can do hard things. Maybe it is to show your children that learning never stops. Maybe it is to connect with a part of yourself that has been sleeping. When the days are busy, when the alarm rings and you are tired, I want you to connect with that deep why. Write it on a piece of paper. I am doing this because I want to be free. I am doing this because I want to be a citizen of the world. That why is the fuel that will push you through the traffic, through the exhaustion, and through the confusion. Now that we have armored your mind with psychology and sharpened your skills with technique, we must look at the horizon. We are not going to talk about verbs or adjectives anymore. We are going to talk about the future. We are going to talk about how to turn English from a subject you study into a superpower you live. We are going to discuss the long-term roadmap so that you never, ever quit, no matter how busy life gets. Let's start with a hard truth that is actually a beautiful secret. You will never be finished with English. Many learners have this idea that one day they will cross a finish line. They think, once I pass the C1 exam, I am done. But language is not a race. It is a relationship. You don't finish a relationship with your spouse or your best friend. You keep investing in it, you keep talking, and it keeps getting deeper. This shift in perspective is crucial for preventing burnout. If you think there is a finish line, you will get frustrated when you don't reach it fast enough. But if you accept that English is a lifelong companion, the pressure disappears. You stop asking, "Are we there yet?" And you start asking, "What interesting thing can we do today?" I want to introduce you to the concept of seasons of learning. In nature, trees do not bloom all year round. They have spring for growth, summer for strength, autumn for harvest, and winter for rest. Your English journey will be the same. There will be growth seasons. These are times when you have energy. Maybe you have a quiet month at work. In these seasons, you push hard. You study grammar. You hire a tutor. You memorize vocabulary. You sprint. But then, life will happen. You will have a maintenance season. You get a new job. You have a baby. You move house. You have zero free time. In the past, this is where you would quit. You would say, I can't study for an hour, so I will stop. But now, you know better. In a maintenance season, you don't try to grow. You just try not to die. You switch to survival mode. You listen to one song a day. You read one page. You just keep the connection alive. Accepting that it is okay to just maintain for 3 months is the secret to staying consistent for 10 years. Do not guilt yourself for having a winter. Just make sure you are ready when spring comes back. Let's meet a character named David. David is a software engineer. 5 years ago, he was a B1 learner. He struggled to speak in meetings. He felt small. But David didn't quit. He had years where he studied hard, and years where he barely touched a book. But he never let the fire go out completely. Today, David is not studying English. He is using English. He uses it to read the latest coding documentation, which is only available in English. He uses it to travel to conferences in San Francisco. He uses it to make jokes with his international team. For David, English is no longer a chore on his to-do list. It is a key. It is the key that unlocks a bigger salary, a bigger world, and a bigger life. I want you to view English this way. It is not the luggage you have to carry. It is the ticket for the plane. Let's do a final visualization practice. This is the most important one we have done. I want you to close your eyes. Imagine it is 5 years from today. You are waking up. You look at your phone. You see a message from a friend in another country. You read it instantly, without translating. You laugh at the joke inside the message. You go to work. You have a meeting. You speak up. You share your idea. You are not thinking about grammar. You are just thinking about your idea. The words flow like water. You feel confident. You feel capable. You feel free. Now, open your eyes. That person, that future you, is real. They are waiting for you. Every small step you take today, every podcast you listen to, every mistake you make is building that person. You are constructing your future self. I also want to talk about the ripple effect. You might think your English learning is just about you, but it isn't. When you learn English, you change the destiny of your family. Maybe you can help your children with their homework. Maybe you can inspire your partner. Maybe you can bring new knowledge into your community that was locked away in English books. You are becoming a bridge. You are connecting your world to the global world. That is a noble responsibility. It is bigger than just learning verbs. It is about leadership. When you feel too tired to study, do it for the people you will help in the future. So, what is the final strategy? What is the master plan for the rest of your life? It is simple. Do not break the chain. Jerry Seinfeld, the famous comedian, had a strategy for writing jokes. He had a big wall calendar. Every day he wrote a joke, he put a red X on that day. After a few days, he had a chain of red X's. He said his only job was, don't break the chain. Your job is the same. Did you listen to English today? Put an X on the calendar. Did you speak to yourself while making coffee? Put an X. Did you shadow a movie scene? Put an X. Make the chain your obsession. On the busy days, do the minimum just to keep the X. On the good days, do more. But protect the chain with your life. As we come to the very end of this massive life-changing series, I want to give you a final call to action. I want you to take a piece of paper or open a note on your phone right now. I want you to write a contract to yourself. Write this: I promise to be patient with myself. I promise to handle the winters and celebrate the springs. I promise that I will not stop until I am the person I want to be. Sign it. Date it. This is your commitment. Not to me, but to you. It has been my absolute honor to be your guide through this deep dive. I started this channel, English in Fluency, because I believe that language is the ultimate tool for human connection. I believe that when we understand each other, the world becomes a smaller, kinder place. You are now part of that mission. You are no longer just a student. You are a practitioner. You are a global citizen. If this series has helped you, if it has changed your mindset, or if it has just made you feel a little less alone on a busy day, please do 3 things for me. First, subscribe. We are building a community here, and I have so much more to share with you. Second, share this series with one friend, just one person who you know is struggling. Be the person who helps them restart their journey. And third, leave a comment below. Tell me your story. Tell me, I am in. Tell me, I am ready for the long game. I read every single comment, and your stories inspire me to keep creating. You are capable. You are resilient. You are on the right path. The lesson is over, but your life in English is just beginning. Go out there and live it. I am Alex. This is English in Fluency. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and for the last time in this series. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. Goodbye.